So back up about 16 years, Natalie and I were homeschooling. I was working as a graphic designer, worked from home, and we thought we were all set. Life was good. Um, everyone's, just moving forward. But we we made friends with some other homeschoolers by the name of Mark and Jen Garrett, and they completely opened our minds to a whole new world of personal development. Mark invited me to a Saturday seminar hosted by Garrett White, and that completely rocked our world. But we hadn't known the Garretts for very long. We really had just interacted at a few homeschool events. And Mark reached out and said, "Hey guys, I made a real estate investment a couple years back. And with that investment, we got, I think it was six nights at this retreat, at this hotel in Hawaii. And we really would love to have you join us." And I remember just thinking, Natalie and I talked it over and we're like, yeah, we don't really do couple trips. Like the only way we can justify trips is if we go as a family. And so we're like, yeah, thanks, but no thanks. A couple days later, they reach back out and Mark's like, no, I really, I've had this vision and I see you guys there with us. So can you please rethink this? Because we would just love to have you there. And and I don't know what it was that motivated us to stretch, because this was only like a week away from the trip. But we stretched, we found babysitters, we found tickets, and we got ourselves in the car with them to the airport, and we found ourselves in Hawaii with them. And can I just tell you what a life-changing experience that was? I had never experienced abundance like we did there in Hawaii. I remember walking around doing hikes, and mangoes, and guava were just falling off the trees, and you could literally pick up amazing fruit off the ground that was in perfect shape. And I was like, oh my gosh, this is paradise. And the weather is always perfect. The foods, the sights, the sounds are just incredible. I still remember at the resort where we stayed, there was kind of this open court in the middle of the hotel, big koi pond in the middle, and they had this guy playing the guitar and a woman doing Hawaiian dances, and it was just just this live entertainment almost every day. And Natalie and I looked at each other and we're like, wow, we have never experienced abundance like this before. But in the planning and all the getting things lined up, I remember we divided up some of the costs. I think they covered some food and we covered the rental car, and as I started looking at rental cars, I was like, oh my gosh, this is going to cost like $600 just to rent the minivan for this week. And I started saying, like, this is going to be an expensive trip. And I kept, I used that phrase multiple times. Well, fast forward to, I think it was Friday that we were over there. We went snorkeling, and I am not a seasoned ocean swimmer. And so the waves kind of beat me up, and I think I lost one of the flippers, and so I had to pay to get that replaced. And while we were down snorkeling, somebody broke into our car and stole my wallet. And I think I had, I don't know, $400 cash in there. And so as we were kind of debriefing with the Garretts later that day, Mark said, it's interesting, Andy, that you kept saying this is going to be an expensive trip, because that's exactly what you're creating, And I was like, oh my gosh, who is this guy, first of all, to be so direct? And who is he to call me out on my limiting beliefs? Like I get to choose what I believe and what I say. And it was so brilliant, because in real time, I'm getting this feedback, right? From life experience, like feedback. If you believe life is expensive, then you create life is expensive. You know, in this particular instance, it was just the trip. The trip was expensive, and I made it more expensive than it needed to be. So I just remember having so many great conversations with the Garretts. And as we were driving to the airport, Jen said, "So what was it that, you know, that turned the tide for you guys? You know, what was it that made you at the last minute say yes and come on this trip?" Because they said, you know, we do a couple trips once a quarter where we get away from the kids and we just have a couple time. And Natalie and I were like, well, we want to be business partners with you guys. And they were like, oh, what business? We're like, we don't know. But that's the only way in our minds that we can justify taking time to be with, you know, just another couple, you know, not take a family trip. And they were like, well, that's great. We don't know what that looks like, but here we are. And this was all before doTERRA. I think we had joined, but we hadn't really started building. So fast forward to like a month later, and we had started building some legs, but there weren't any leaders in place. And so we cornered Mark on the last day of the month, you know, because that's when the magic happens in doTERRA. And we said, hey, we found this business and we are going all in, and we want you to join us. And Mark was just there, I think, picking up one of his kids from our house. And so he's just kind of like, you know, not really in that headspace. It was probably the worst builder conversation we've ever had. It was so just thrown together last minute. Not, you know, we didn't take the time to really talk through where he was, what his needs were, but we knew they had some financial stress in their life. So we said, hey, we have this placeholder. We would love for you to work with us and be partners in this new business. And to his credit, he said yes. Not knowing, you know, much about the oils, not knowing, like literally, they hadn't been to a class. We didn't take the time to educate on the product. We just invited them to be business partners, and they said yes. And I truly believe that because of the time that we invested in Hawaii with them, and just because of the friendship that it forged even before that, there was enough relationship capital for them to trust this is a good thing. And our biggest pitch was, we want to do business with you. If we could choose anyone in the world to be partners with, it would be you. So you want to come with us? And for Mark, that was an easy yes. Jen took a minute to come around, but she did. And they have been dear, cherished partners ever since. And we're so grateful for the role that they have played. They have led an amazing team. They are just incredible mentors, the way they bring people into their home and into their family, into their doTERRA family. So inspiring. So the thing I learned, thanks to Mark Garrett that day in Hawaii, is the power of thought, the power of your word, because whatever you affirm is what you create. The 4th of July is not the day that we won independence from Great Britain. It's the day we declared independence. And that is the power of our words. So choose your words carefully. If you were to feed everything that you say, if you were to just have, you know, probably this thing is recording everything you say, but if you were to feed that into an AI engine and have it summarize what your beliefs are, what would those beliefs be? Would they be things like life is expensive? Would they be things like, you know, the world's going to pot? What would be your beliefs based on the words that you speak, the thoughts that you give space to in your brain? So my invitation to you is to choose your thoughts carefully. As Matt Hull says, all of us are getting brainwashed every day. So choose to wash your own brain. Choose to feed it what you want, and that will serve you and create the life that you truly want. So you don't have to be a victim of your thoughts or your words. You can create through them.